Hoople's cat and Becky the dog. We're going to present to you the wonderful world of caching. Cache, as I call it, just to irritate Kitty. Yeah, this is a concept that is going to be mind-blowing to you all. Stay tuned for this. So most burly preppers, as soon as they worry about anything going wrong at all, they grab their guns and their tactical gear and their big packs full of smokes and booze, and they head out the door. And they have tools and they have a lot of stuff in the car. But what happens if you can't travel by car? What happens if, like me, you think carrying a load of heavy gear in a bug out is utterly stupid? Well, you have several options. The main option, the best option, is to live at your bug out location. The second option is to be able to bicycle or walk there, knowing that you put the stuff that's heavy at the bug out location before you need to bug out. That's what I would advise. But trundling along the route, where will you get resupply from? Well, I'm going to carry cash. Some cash may be able to buy some stuff along the route. But don't count on it. So Kitty's going all greeny on me, and she's now buying these at enormous cost for the dishwasher. 400 to 1,000 years later, this plastic bucket's still going to be there. I have to talk to her about this. She has to buy these in paper, not in plastic. But one of the problems I have in putting caches in the ground along my bug out route is the fact that in Canada, during the winter, it freezes down to about 3 to 4 feet. So the chance of digging up anything in the winter is zero. So the only effective option we have in Canada, and I know other people do this, but they don't publicize it too much for obvious reasons, is that you put small amounts of gear to resupply along the route in dense trees, up in the tree branches. Now this will be perfect. This is going to get painted green with brown and black on it, and it's going to be hung in a tree in the deep midwinter. So if you can't see it in the winter, you're not going to see it in the spring or fall. And obviously you have to remember where you put the stuff. So you're going to lose a lot of these, either by not finding them or somebody else will find them. Though if you tie it right, it's unlikely. So cordage will be mostly cordage to attach it to the tree. But what's inside this little bucket? It depends on what I feel like when I put them together. If you've never done a cache, do one this week. Put together a whole bunch of stuff in a solid watertight plastic container. Metal's not the greatest because of metal detectors. And put it halfway along your route to your bug out location. And you should also scatter nails around anything that you put in the ground that has metal in it. Because if people come along with their metal detectors, the detectorists, they won't be able to find it. Well, now you're all excited, right? What the heck has Hoople's put in this one? Well, why don't I slowly open it one by one and show you? Or, I know, why don't I open it off camera? Food! There's 1,800 calories total in here, some of which I would have to cook. Some bread from an old MRE, some grape jelly from an old MRE. This hasn't got a lot of calories in it, but I actually want it for the oil, and it's one of my favourite fish, if I have to eat fish, and I'm vegan, and I'll only eat fish and bread down. The fish will get mixed in with this, bulk rice, and I have a bit of salt and pepper in here, not a lot, but some. What was an important fact? A micro towel. Micro towels are very, very good for pre-filtering. They're also good for washing your bottom and cleaning out in water, which is why you should always filter and treat all water in grid down and in now, because you never know who's been pooping upstream. There's also some very, very cheap generic Chinese water tablets that I bought, and I don't know why I bought them, but they were very, very cheap. So they're in here, they're a standby. Also a whole bunch of tea bags and a Bic, a working Bic. There's also a second working Bic because you need fire, right? Everybody always tells you that. Though I'm planning a bug out without fire in conditions of SHTF. Also some hand sanitizer because you need to have clean hands. And I'm not just saying that, you do. The hand oral route is the fastest way of getting infected. You also need to get one that's alcohol based, so you can actually use it as a fire accelerant. Great idea. Now there is medical, because I'm a nurse, right? I have a couple of sutures, I have a couple of bandages, and I have a couple of blood stopping agents. I also have some Gravol, and I have some Tylenol. This is not my first aid kit. This is an emergency standby that I might need to get extra supplies whilst on my bug out route. I've also shoved in 3 sachets of coffee. This is not to supply me on a camping trip or I'm never coming home. This is to get me from my home to my bug out location, or from my bug out location back to my home. You never know. The biohazard bags are actually there to try and put people off if they open it. They're also designed with the Ziploc on it, like this. So in a pinch I can actually put water into this, filtered with a micro towel, and expose it to sunlight all day long, and it will give me a much better and safer way of drinking water than just drinking out of a pond. So this is a surprise gore. I want to post this to somebody. It's from Creek Stewart's, a pocket box. I don't know why I'm still getting these. They're incredibly expensive. This is like $6 American for these 2 sheets of paper. I must be out of my mind. But anyway, whatever, it's going to be the first thing I'm going to cut in a real financial crisis. But they give me a lot of pleasure. The problem with this is the Soto fire pile. And it's a great idea, and he shows you how to do it and all the rest of it. The main problem with it is Soto only grows down here. So if you live in these areas of the United States and you want this to be posted to you and you're okay with me posting it to you, in the comments below write the word Sotol, S-O-T-O-L, in a normal sentence that gives nobody else a clue that this is a gar. So this is my free giveaway. And I might shove some other stuff in it, I don't know, it depends. Postage to the States is expensive, and even getting it delivered is even more expensive. I don't know about you, but I have a whole bunch of stuff hanging out. And I suspect Steve of Corsair Trainers has now. He's been getting the Crate Club for a while. A whole bunch of stuff he doesn't really need. One of the most useless prepper products in the entire planet is paracord bracelets. Anyway, has a almost non-functional compass on it, a whistle, fire steel. Anyway, designed for the last ditch emergency. You know what, if it comes down to this or death, I'm going to pick death, because I'm not going to let it come down to this. I've also put a second bic in. I've also put in one of these. This is a Coolgans multi-tool, otherwise known as cheap rubbish. I wouldn't recommend you use stuff like this to rely on, but let's face it, this is a multi-tool that's extremely cheap, and if I lose it, I'm not going to cry too much. So that's why that's in the box. Now in other boxes I have lifeboat water, I have lifeboat rations, I might put in emergency blankets, I might put in some actual tool blades, stuff like that. It all depends on how much I'm putting in the ground and how big a box I'm using. Generally speaking, I'm not using huge boxes. Now you will see a lot of videos out there showing you cutting up PVC pipes and sealing them off. And if you've got the time and energy, that's an okay idea. My problem is if I'm burying it in the ground, I can't dig it up between probably the end of November and maybe the middle of the end of April. So I'm going to have to put my stuff in smaller containers that I'm going to camouflage and put above ground, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get it during the winter. And you should always prep for the worst case scenario. So if you've got to bug out, it's a last ditch thing in my opinion, or it's the first thing you're going to do. It's one or the other. Bugging out shouldn't be you hang around for a few weeks and then run off. It should be I'm staying where I am, or early on you go I need to go to X, it's going to be safer. So it should be a planned thing. But you should have large quantities of food and water filtration and spades and shovels and hacksaws and all of the essentials of life at the bug out location. Now I would be carrying in the winter a fair amount of tactical gear. I would be carrying stuff. In the summer I won't be carrying anywhere near as much. But I can tell you right now, when you look at your bug out bag, half of it minimum should be food and water. Half of it minimum. That's going to be the one thing that's going to wear you out. And I'm going to do a few bug outs over the summer, both by kayak and by foot and by bike, and I'll show you what I mean. So that's what I've got in my above ground cache, or cache as I say when kiddies round to annoy it. And you can put multiple of these along the route. What you don't really want to do is to be going every 5 kilometers and finding one of these. The other problem I've seen online is that people actually pack huge ones and use them to actually resupply the bug out. Now I can see the sense of that if you've got no other choice, but personally, when you set off from your home and you get to the bug out location, everything that you set out with should be enough to get you to the bug out location. Now obviously if you're a truck driver and you do a regular route 700 miles or 1,000 kilometers away from your home, putting caches on a known route that you've scooped out in advance that would be reasonably okay to bike down, and I would advise having a folding bike if you're going that sort of distance away from your home or bug out location, this sort of a thing will be absolutely essential. So this isn't an afterthought, this is actually integral with the bug out. Bug out should never be carrying everything you need for every contingency. The weight will slow you down, will make you a target, will burn up the food and will burn up the water. I live in a water rich area, a lot of people don't. That's why I don't have a metal cup in this. I thought about it, I'm almost certainly to be carrying a metal container if I needed to do that. But I'm actually probably already going to be carrying a filter. The thing is, this is a backup. This is a, if I need it when I get to that particular intersection, I know that on the northwest corner, if I walk into the forest for about 10 feet to 20 feet and look around, I'm going to find something that might actually help me out in an emergency bug out situation. So that's all from me. Everything's going to be a bit late this week because tomorrow is Wednesday, and Wednesday, Thursday I'm downtown near the Toronto International Airport, and I'm going to a Canadian Nuclear Association 2-day conference on nuclear safety, which I'm going to film, and my transit down there. I'm very excited about the transit, and the conference looks good. Kitty was going to come with me, but unfortunately she can't, and I will let you know all about that. So Friday will be slow, probably for the long voyage back. There's 33 people out there that will be sad about that, but it will be coming on Friday. We're getting towards the end, and I want to make sure we get it done, and I want to make sure we enjoy the experience of bugging out in a nuclear war on the ocean. So remember, in SHTF, if you don't prep now, tomorrow will definitely be worse than today. So let's get prepping, let's prepare, let's act, let's think. Toodles.